So I told first service that Bill tricked me a little bit. He said, "Hey, do you want to do a faith story?" And I'd been watching all these videos where they showed the faith story up there. I'm like, "Sure, why not? That's easy enough." Then he's like, "No, you're going to have to talk and say it in front of everyone." So that was a little bit of a curveball to me. So I have some of my words here. I may read a little bit of it just so I don't get way off, and I apologize. Last weekend, my family and I celebrated a little bit of an anniversary. It was our 3-year anniversary of coming to Trinity Church for the first time last weekend. And actually, Halloween Happening always reminds us of that because Halloween Happening happened right after that, and we remember coming to that as well. But a lot more than that, it was an anniversary of God and a celebration of the Lord's work in our lives, where He just came in a strong way and forceful way into our family to bring major changes and some incredible blessings for us. And several years ago, I was involved in a church. I was worship leading there on a weekly basis, but was just continually, really, my wife and I and our family, we were just frustrated by what seemed like a lack of response to these songs, this worship that we've been doing today. You're just singing these amazing songs of God's goodness and His grace, and like that last song, "Forever Reign." I mean, you are God. I mean, how can you not be just moved and by that? And we were struggling with that, and I just felt like there was kind of a passion inside of me, and we weren't seeing that necessarily in many of those people around us. And I for a long time, my wife and I just kind of dismissed it. Well, it's just a cultural thing, or it's maybe I'm just misreading what people are feeling. But then God really began to stir in our hearts that there were some significant problems theologically and with where we were and with the church where we were at. And we began to consider that maybe what was missing in that worship experience wasn't just a cultural thing. Maybe it was actually some heart issues. And this began to weigh pretty heavily on me and on us. So through incredible providence and God's sovereign timing, my wife and I began to feel strongly that we were being led to leave our religious heritage and just go on a new journey of faith. And there were many people through that time that moved us and that guided and helped guide us. The Strums were very instrumental. Last service, the Tinkers were sitting up here. They were, even though they didn't know it. We had read a lot of the things they'd written and had been moved by what they had done. And also just reading through the Bible again, many times with just new glasses, just seeing things for the first time. And particularly, I started reading through Galatians again, and my eyes just started to be open to just more fully understanding the Lord's completed work and the freedom that we have in Christ. And then moving through Colossians, and then even more moving through Romans, and beginning to understand more deeply the depth and breadth of what Christ had done on my behalf. So late one Saturday night, actually 3 years ago, we happened upon one of Gary's sermons online, and we didn't know much about Trinity. We had some friends who went here, obviously, but we found one of his sermons, and he was preaching through the upper room discourse, and he was talking about the finished and just the work of Christ. And by that, and then by the Spirit's prompting, and this was like midnight when we found it, which was a little, it was a late night, but the next morning, hey, we're going to Trinity, so we're going to be there. And we came, and we were just so moved by the presence of the Spirit in this room and in the hearts of the people here. We were actually sitting right back there. I remember it very vividly. We never sat there again. We moved over here. I don't know why. Nothing against you guys back there. Just I don't know why. We never could get away from over here, so we're here. But now where am I? Okay. We knew immediately, though, even there or here, wherever, it doesn't matter, we knew that we'd found a family of God and a body of believers that we could share our faith with. And also we just found a freedom in Christ. And our family's theme, actually, for that year became 2 Corinthians 3:17. It says, as many of you know, "Now the Lord is Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom." And we felt it here. We knew it. And we felt it in our family. We actually had a picture from years ago we'd taken of the word freedom. We didn't know it then why we were doing it, but we blew it up on our wall, and we have it on a big poster on our wall. And since that time, the last several years have just been an awesome journey with the Lord and with this church. And one of the best things I think about this freedom and understanding that by the same Spirit that gives that freedom, I have been sealed as a believer by that Spirit, and I've been sealed as a child of God. And that assurance of my salvation and where I stand with the Lord, with God, has probably been the biggest and most beautiful change from where I was before. And so much of the fear, I mean, that's one of my sinful areas, or one of my heart issues is fear. And always it was just not knowing how God was feeling about you, or not knowing where you stood. And that fear is gone, and that's a blessing. The book of Hebrews was also another book that took on a lot of new meaning for us, and it was just a lot more depth of meaning as well, especially Hebrews 4, where I finally understood a little more fully what it meant to be in permanent Sabbath rest, and that's an amazing gift to the believer. I also began to understand more fully that nothing can take me out of his hand because of the finished work of Christ. And now I'm safe because and only because of the fact that I am in Christ. And also it's because of his once-for-all sacrifice. And I'd read these texts. I mean, you know how it is. You grow up. I'd grown up reading these texts so many times, and it just hadn't fit. Hadn't understood it. And now I could have that confidence because of a text like Hebrews 10:14, where it says, "For by one sacrifice he has made perfect forever those who are being made holy." And this text was so clear, and I'm not sure how I missed it. And especially he has made me perfect because of Jesus. And that actually went to probably the deepest into those areas of pain and those areas of just not feeling good enough. Maybe it's the perfectionist in me and in many of us, but just not feeling like I measured up. And that is one of the texts that really just blew us away. So, lest the story sound a little too rosy, sometimes testimonies can sound like everything's going great. There's definitely areas of frustration when I know we're made right with God, we're justified, our right standing is in Him, but that doesn't mean we always do right, obviously, as you all know. I think I secretly had hoped with all this new changes and this freedom we'd found that everything would just kind of go away, all the bad stuff would go away. But I knew it, you knew it wouldn't, or at least not quickly. But it was also right there in that same verse. It says, "He has made perfect forever those who are being made holy." So it's obviously a process, a work of a lifetime. And I just decided that you're going to have to trust God trust God in the same way that we trusted Him when He brought us to this place and brought us into this newfound freedom. That He would continue to guide. And there's secret places, I think, obviously in my heart and in all of our hearts, that Jesus continues to work on very slowly at times. The greed, lust, pride, especially fear, like I mentioned, those things are something that it's a painful and slow work. But as it states in Lamentations, and we sing this, it's one of our favorite songs to sing in our group, is His mercies are new every morning, and great is His faithfulness. And I feel that in many ways, my wife and our family, we feel like we were set free, but also it's a continual every day. It's the Lord setting us free again, taking little pieces, little things that need to go, and being set free again and again. And I'm not really patient with that. I often pray that God would just do it all right now, just take it. But He knows better than that, and He doesn't do it like that. A few months ago, so our family, we were over at the coast, and we were visiting some other family over the holidays, and I was sitting by the ocean. And for those when you go to the ocean, you're just amazed at its depth and its strength. And I was again struck with just the power and the majesty of God. And I was remembering the ways that He just strongly moved in our hearts and in our lives several years ago. And I was also, though, at the same time, when you look at that, you're amazed at just the beauty, the sunset and the colors and the waves and the wind and the animals and just His tenderness. And in a way that He's just an artist, the way He does these things. And while I was praying and reading, I was listening to a new song on my iPod. It was called "I Am Set Free." And I was again reminded in this journey, while He can break into our lives in power and strength and be that God who is just majestic and strong, He also just works very slowly and gently lead us away from the sin and away from the things that are not right, and to make us more like Him. And His mercies really are new every morning. I feel like I've been set free, but I'm also set free daily, like I mentioned before. And I've just continued to remind myself to trust Him in this. And I'm so thankful for all He's done for me and for my family, and also the places He's taken us to, and also just bringing us into a place where it's just continual worship of Him and what He's done. And I'm also so grateful for now to have a body of believers with whom I'm blessed to share this passion for worship and a longing to see God absolutely glorified in this place. And so we're going to share this song with you, talking about the freedom we find in Christ.